Calm. All right, finally getting around to building the stairs for that deer stand. Basically I'm using treated 2x6 lumber. Because I have to haul it up to Michigan from Wisconsin here. I'm building two 8-foot sections, and my intention is to connect them together with this board. I am going to attach, first I'll screw them with some 3-inch screws, and then I'll use some galvanized 1/4-inch bolts and use that to hold it. And then on the top and bottom here, I was thinking of running a little piece of flat stock. And then once it's in place on the deer stand, I got some treated 2x4s, and I'm going to run them down to the ground as like supports to help hold the weight there as my chubby hide walks up there. The stairs, it's basically to get the angle. I screwed the two 2x6x8s together, and I leaned them up against the garage, and I put a piece of tape 10 feet up, and then I took the level up there, and I found the level going vertical, and then I took it down to the ground, and I drew another line with the level, and then I cut those angles out, and they ended up on the top where it met the garage. It ended up being 43 degrees, and on the bottom it was around 50 degrees. So after I cut those, I set it back up there, and I mean, it sat nice, tight, flush, didn't have hardly any wiggle to it. And then to determine the stair spacing, I was thinking about a foot between stairs, or steps I should say. So I use this high precision measuring device, and as the board was leaned up against the garage, I put this up there and I leveled it, and this is 1 foot wide. And then basically once I had that first line a foot up, then because this is a foot wide, I just kept moving this up, and I'd transfer the line up 1 notch. And that's basically how the angle of my stair treads got set. And now to attach the stair treads, I'm putting in 3 3-inch deck screws on each side. And then I took some angle iron, I painted it black, and I drilled a couple holes in it. And I'm putting some 1 5/8 deck screws in. And I put these in up here, cinch them tight. And then I put the 2 in down there, and hopefully that keeps it nice and sturdy and halfway quiet. Not that that's the biggest deal, but sturdy's kind of a big deal. But yeah, that's basically how the ladder's being built. And then when I get to the point where I'm screwing it together, I'll do a little more footage on that part. But this is just a little video on the basic construction of the ladder. All right, on to the next part. All right, we're up here in Michigan. I'm ready to put the ladder together. I already did one side, and now I'm doing the other side. Basically what I did first, I went on the down side and drilled an angled hole up so I could put a 3-inch screw in to kind of pull these two 2x6s together. And I did it on the bottom side, that way, you know, water can't run in there and fill the hole up. And then I got this chunk of 2x6, and I am going to screw that on like that, and I'm going to use 6 maybe more than 6. 1 2 3 4 5 12. So I'll use 12 screws, 3-inch deck screws, to hold that in. And then where these 2 boards meet, I took some flat stock and I drilled some holes in, and I'm gonna screw it down onto there just for a little extra support. And I'm gonna use 8x1 5/8 deck screws for that. I already did it down on the other side, as you can see. And then on the outside of this, Well, when I get that far, I'll show you, but I'm planning on having a support halfway up that runs to the ground. But first, I just got to get this ladder together. And again, I built it in 2 pieces just so we could get it hauled up here. Otherwise, it's too hard trying to haul something 16 feet long in the pickup truck. All right, I'll get this screwed together. All right, we'll talk about the stairway I just got put up there. All right, when I last left off, I was putting the 2 ladder pieces together. Okay, we'll go over that now that you can see it a little more clearly. Basically, you got the 2x6 screwed on with 6 screws, and then you got your pieces of metal flat stock on each side. And then there was 1 screw, well, 1 on each side, that I stuck in to pull these boards together before I started putting any of the other parts on. And that, I'm really happy with this. I mean, this thing's sturdy. It wasn't flexing at all when I was dragging it over here to lean it up against the blind. So this, I give a thumbs up. That part worked. All right, for bracing, I took 2x4s and I screwed them to the 2x6 that I had connecting it together. All right, and then I went down and I had an old scrap piece of 2x6 and I screwed it onto the end of the 2x4s. Now when I put this on, first I screwed the 2x6 on, then I jammed it up next to this ladder, and I picked up on the ladder with this part stepping on it, forcing it into the ground, and then I put the screws in. And then I let it back down, and that kind of put it under tension, and I think that helped make it sturdier than it would have been if I wouldn't have did that. And I did that on both sides. And then I cut it off with the Sawzall, and I had 2 pieces left over after I cut, because these were 8-foot 2x4s. And one I used right there as a cross brace, kind of stiffen it up a little bit. And then the other one I connected to the top stair, the back of the top stair, and then to one of the cross braces. Not sure if it's really actually doing anything, but that's what I did, and that's how I'm gonna leave it. But all right, now the next part would basically be how I attached it to the blind here. Basically, we kind of shimmied this thing up against the building, and my wife was up in the blind, and she rammed these screws in. Okay, they're just treated 3-inch or 3-inch screws for pressure treated wood. They're deck screws or whatever. And then after she rammed them in, I climbed up the ladder, or crawled up this staircase, I should say, and I put 3 4-inch galvanized bolts in. And then I used fender washers, and the fender washers are zinc. They're not the galvanized, but just because I couldn't find galvanized fender washers, but I think that'll work fine. And then I got lock nuts on the back. All right, now the thing's pretty darn sturdy. It doesn't really move at all. I can wiggle and jump on it. Although I will be 100% honest with you, the stair treads they suck. They're too small. 6-inch is definitely not the answer. I guess you could say that's Lucky Larry's learning lesson of the day, is you gotta use bigger than 6-inch stair treads. It works. I don't think there's a sturdiness issue with them, but you actually got to pay attention when you're climbing the ladder, because say you look, you know, it would actually be nice to have, you know, a double, you know, like a 12-inch. It'd be way nicer. But I'd almost had to use bigger sides to go with that much bigger of a stair tread. You know, I could have probably did an 8-inch, and I'm not sure if that would have been big enough to make me feel good about it. But these are gonna stay. It's built. I've climbed up a lot sketchier stuff. I just truly regret that I only use 6-inch boards for the stair treads, and definitely would not recommend it. And I definitely would not build it that way again. But what's done is done, and maybe someone can watch this and don't make my mistake, you know. Save you some time there. Save you some time. But that about covers the ladder. I mean, I like it. It's gonna work fantastic. 16-foot ladder to get up into a 10-foot high blind. That's the angle of it. I mean, I think the 1 foot in between steps works perfectly fine. But again, go wider on the stair treads, because 6 inches sucks. All right, we'll get on to the next part. All right, back up here in the deer stand. Got a few more things done. Got this shelf installed up here. Basically, I just used some cheap little L brackets I bought at Menards. The window's kind of in the way, but I did some high-tech camouflage paint on the window, so I'm letting that dry, so I can't shut it, otherwise it would get on my sill. But back to the shelf, it's just a piece of pine I milled on the chainsaw mill. I did run it through the planer to take the rough edges off. I didn't get it perfect. I didn't sand it down and try and make it perfect or anything. But I think this should be handy for, you know, setting a first aid kit and a few other miscellaneous things up there. I got my clear windows on the sides. Last time I had bought the low glare Lexan, and it you literally couldn't see through it, and now you can see through them perfect. How I put them on, I got the little piece of garage door trim, and then you can see the brown silicone, and I think that should work pretty good. Time will tell. I still other projects I have to do yet. I have to do my folding shooting rest, and then I am going to take a piece of this this trim off, this trim I got right here, and I'm going to slice up some camouflage burlap, and I'm going to hang it just in this window, just to break up, so if I'm sitting in here, you know, it'll be hanging down just a little bit. And I think I'm going to do that versus curtains, just due to the fact that if I do curtains, it'll be a different visual for the deer if they're down there every day. You know, when the window's open, it'll definitely look different. Where if I do the burlap there and I have it hanging down all the time on the outside, it'll just look normal to them, and then it should help conceal some of my movements when I'm bopping around in here. Because, you know, nothing's worse than you got like a handful of does out there and one of them picks you off. You get a lot of eyeballs when you're waiting for a buck to come out. But all right, that's just a quick update on what I've got done this weekend, and a few of the future projects that should be coming up on it. Thanks for watching.